All right. Good morning. Welcome. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Happy Friday. Q&A Friday, folks. Welcome, Shred Nation. Good morning. How are you doing? You have a good week? Has everybody had a good week so far? You guys are jumping on here and you're wondering what's going on with this dude's shirt today. Well, we've been joking about it for several weeks now about Hawaiian Shirt Friday. And today we are doing Hawaiian Shirt Friday. So welcome aboard. I hope you got your Hawaiian shirt on. Hawaiian Shirt Friday was something I learned about in a great movie. That movie is called Office Space, if you've ever seen it, from the brilliant Mike Judge, who created Beavis and Butthead. There's a line in that movie that they talk about Hawaiian Shirt Day is on Friday. It's basically a funny comedy movie about this super boring tech office. And what they look forward to in their meeting is he says, well, Friday is going to be Hawaiian Shirt Day. So wear your Hawaiian shirt. So that's why we're doing it. So if you're wondering why I'm wearing this goofy shirt here, I don't think it's too goofy. I think it looks good myself. What do you think? But that's what's going on. And we got a Q&A today. We got episode 57. Or 59, y'all. 59. Epi 59. So we got some questions here today, and we're going to try something a little different for the people who are watching. I'm actually going to be highlighting the questions on our screen here. If you guys are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, if you're on Instagram, sorry, Instagram, you don't get this this benefit. But what we're going to get into today, I'm going to read these questions out. Number one is from somebody, what is better, getting my 10,000 steps in all at once or spreading it evenly throughout the day? Number two is, what's the best fat burning supplement? You want to get in there and burn that fat. Thank you, Auntie Gina. Yeah, my shirt, we're doing Hawaiian Shirt Fridays here at the School of Shred. So number three that we're going to get into is, I'm eating paleo but have a sweet tooth. Any recommendations? The fourth question is, any foods that speed up the metabolism? And the number five today, we're going to finish with, should I count calories to lose weight? So let's get into the first one. All right, let's unpack it a little bit. What's better, getting my 10,000 steps in all at once or spreading it evenly throughout the day? So what I'm going to try and do right now for you guys that are watching on Facebook and YouTube is we're going to try and pull these questions up. Let me know if you see this pop up. Are you guys seeing this on Facebook? Let me know. I need some interaction here. We're testing things out. So we have question one, what is better, getting my 10,000 steps in all at once or spreading it evenly throughout the day? So anyway, there's a few ways to go about this. The big thing that I want to get at here is this 10,000 steps a day thing. It's something that I've been talking about a lot on my Instagram, on my stories every day. Okay, cool. Yeah, everybody's seeing it on there. Right on. So, but it's something that I've been talking about every day, which is a minimum step tracker, which, I tell my clients, this is a non-negotiable. Okay. So this is one of these things that you build into your day that it's low level activity, which is humans are designed for low level activity. Not designed, historically speaking, we've always moved a lot until recent years. Now we have technology, so we sit more and we utilize our brain power more, but we're not using our physiology as much. And so having a minimum step count is it's a bare entry for a lot of my clientele that I train. And so, I do 10,000 steps a day. It's a non-negotiable. And what does a non-negotiable mean? It means if I get home at night and I got 8,000 steps, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go walk out in the dark. I'll put on an audiobook on my headphones and I'll go for a short walk at night. I like to do several walks a day. I'm actually going to go do about an hour and a half walk when I get off of the show today with the dogs, just because it's beautiful outside. And I love walking in the sunshine and listen to an audiobook. I call it learn and burn, right? You're burning fat and you're learning something for, for whatever it is, for your profession, your passion. I'm listening to some finance books right now, but there's so many good books out there, and you could carve this time out, these little short walks that you do or long walks or whatever. You can learn. I walk on the treadmill in between clients at work and I read books now. I read and walk at like 3.5 miles an hour. So anyway, but the main thing is just get the 10,000 steps in. But there's a few ways you can do this. You can spread it out throughout the day, because if the goal is just to get 10,000 in, you could do a short walk in the morning and a short walk at night. You could do yard work to do this, which is great, home improvement stuff. You could have other hobbies, whatever you like to do to get those 10,000 and do it. There's not one that's really better than the other, but there is something you might want to consider. And this is what I've started to really get into when I'm looking at the step counting, or the step tracking rather. When I do numerous walks a day, I am really energized. And so what I have found over the last 3 to 4 months of being really diligent on this, and actually exploring, like doing numerous walks a day, is every time I'm tired, I actually don't need caffeine. I found that I need to walk. I need to move. I need to push blood around my body. I need to oxygenate my body. And so, since I've started doing this whole, walk in between clients now, as the world's opened back up and I'm back to work with personal training, I walk 10 minutes in between clients, and man, that wakes me up more than anything that I've ever done in my life. Like my vibrancy and vitality within like myself now, my energy is much higher throughout the day because I'm walking frequently. I walk 10 minutes every hour when I'm at the gym. If I have 6 clients, I'm walking 60 minutes. And it's only 10 minutes every hour. 60 minutes. It doesn't feel like that much because I've split it up so much, because I do 50-minute sessions. So I might go from say 6 p.m. to 6:50, walk from 6:50 to 7, read a book, get a couple pages out of a good book. Like I said, walk at 3.5 miles an hour, nothing crazy, but I can get like 800 to 1,000 steps every 10 minutes. And so, you think about that, it's like that compounds, right? The compound effect is amazing if you do several short walks a day. And so this is like if you eat lunch and you're at work, go for a little walk around the building, do something, walk back and forth in the parking lot. Like it doesn't have to be this thing that you set aside where it's like this cardio session that's separate. It's just called movement. One of the 10 shred principles that's actually in these books here, one of our laws that the school goes by, that's in all of my manuals, is that all movement is exercise. And so we want to rethink and relearn what we think of as exercise at the School of Shred. That's what students do, which is, it's not all about resistance training and sweating and having to shower afterwards and all that. That's all great stuff too, but you should be moving as much as humanly possible. Your body is a machine that's designed to move. And so 10,000 steps a day is awesome. So I'm getting long-winded on this one, but I think it deserves getting long-winded about, this general movement. So you can spread it up. That's my personal preference, but I also have days where I get it all in one chunk, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you want to get your 10,000 steps in one go and jump on the treadmill or whatever it is, you basically, you have all of your non-exercise movement, like walking into work, walking, to the parking lot, going to the store, and then maybe you do a big bolus cardio session. That's fine too if you like doing that. I vary it. If I'm crunched for time on a day and I know I'm going to be sitting a lot, I'll go for a super long walk. Some days I do it with the dogs. I'll go for a really long walk, like a good 90-minute walk, to try and get 9,000 steps in. And then it's just, everything else is just bonus that day. But a lot of the times what I do is I start the day off with 3,000 steps. I go to work, I kind of see what's going on there. I walk in between clients. By the time I get done at 8 p.m. at night, I've already got 10,000. I come home, and sometimes after the meal, I'll go for a little walk, because a post-meal walk has been shown to actually reduce postprandial blood glucose. So it actually brings your blood sugar down if you go for a nice 20 to 30-minute walk post-meal, especially if it's a big meal. I stand for at least 10 minutes. I put a timer on my watch most of the time when I remember, especially if it's a heavy meal. I will stand for 10 to 20 minutes after my meal, even if it's inside my house. Like last weekend, I had a huge meal on the weekend and big refeed day, and it was a lot of food, and I stood for 20 minutes, and I was actually walking around my house, walking up and down the stairs, just trying to help my body digest that food. So long answer to that question, but you can do it any way you want to. You can do all your 10,000 at once, or you can split it up. But I think it's important for people to know that you can split it up, split it up, because you can get the mental cognition benefits, where you feel energy, you feel mentally alert. I really like that way of doing it, as opposed to just one big bolus of steps and then you sit the rest of the day and your blood just sits in pools. Number 2 is best fat burning supplement. I'm gonna hit this one real quick. Honestly, I don't like fat. I don't like supplements for fat burning. I don't recommend them. I don't have people use them. If you're gonna use anything to supplement an extra fat burn, just drink caffeine. Just drink coffee. Coffee is great for that. What are fat burning supplements? Now, when I got into the industry, they were huge. And I remember I used to take those and I wasn't even focused on my diet. And it was like, because the advertising did a number on me. All fat burning supplements is a bunch of compounds that raise your fight or flight response and your sympathetic response. They help increase cortisol. Cortisol, one of your fight or flight hormones. When you have fight or flight going, like adrenaline and cortisol and noradrenaline, norepinephrine, those guys actually kill off hunger hormones. They kill off hunger hormones, so you're actually not hungry. So like if you almost get an accident, when you're driving to work in the morning, you're not thinking about food right after. If you've ever noticed, if you're ever stressed out, you're not hungry. And that's because when you're in fight or flight, your body's releasing chemicals that are keeping hunger hormones at bay. And so when you overstimulate with fat burners, which is basically a ton of like caffeine and other stimulants, you're just raising cortisol. You can do that with caffeine, and you don't have to have all that extra stuff. There's nothing magical about fat burners. And if your plan is dependent on trying to burn a couple extra calories from fat burners or caffeine, you're doing it wrong. And that might hurt. I'm okay with that. But you shouldn't be relying on fat burners. You shouldn't be relying on any of this stuff. So it's a good question, because I've fallen for this. I've taken fat burners a ton in the past. I don't take any of that stuff anymore. I'm leaner now than I've ever been. And so what I would recommend is, if you want to burn fat, before you go for a walk, you can do a cup of black coffee. That helps speed the metabolic processes up. It helps get a little cortisol bump. That's all good stuff, but save your money. Don't buy any of these fat burner supplements. If you're going to buy any supplements, buy foundational supplements that help you with your overall health. So like a good omega-3 or vitamin D, and like magnesium is really good. But stuff like that, that's your foundational pillars of nutrition. Those guys are going to make sure that the machinery is actually running correctly. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that crow wants to be on the show today. Did you hear the crow outside? I have my window open today, and Crow wants to come in and say hi. So anyway, so yeah, focus on the basics. Focus on the basics. Focus on getting your body healthy, and your body will burn fat. Balance your nervous system, and your body will burn fat. If you want the best supplement, it might be blue blocking glasses at night so you can get better sleep, and you can burn fat that way. Number 3, good question though. Number 3, I'm eating paleo but have a sweet tooth. Any recommendations? Yes, there's awesome recommendations, and congratulations for doing paleo. And what is paleo diet? It's basically limiting processed food, okay? Which is awesome. You can do high carb, low fat paleo if you want. You can do high fat, low carb paleo. You can do, the carnivore diet is basically falls within paleo. You can do a vegan paleo diet. So Paleolithic diet is basically foods that have been around for thousands of years. As I've learned more about epigenetics and gene expression, and, calories matter because of the hormonal response, this is absolutely where, emotionally, where I try to coach people from. It's my opinion that these natural foods are best. I try to not promote processed, refined foods. If I have a client that is, kind of stuck in the matrix of eating a lot of pizza and processed stuff, like processed pizza with all the glutens and all burritos and stuff like that, that's prevalent in the society now, I love up on them, and I let them realize, okay, we could track calories and whatnot, and we can kind of, walk away from this. But I don't promote that stuff. I don't say, hey, look, we can just be flexible, forever. I want to encourage this world to get back to its natural roots of eating foods that are grown naturally. As they grow like that, you eat them like that. Now, some things are processed. Yeah. Like there's some better alternatives. If you want some type of alternative sweet, you can have a stevia in there because it's a little more natural. But even that can have create an insulin response. And so There's some better options that aren't as paleo, but the overall arcing theme that I love is this idea of eating foods that were foods 200, 300 years ago in their most natural state. None of this new spaceman food, because I don't know if you've looked at it, but in the last 100 years, human health has gone down the toilet. And, we got to look at our food consumption as well as some other things, but food is a big one. So I like the paleo diet, and there's lots of macro splits that you can do within the paleo diet. Now, with that said, this person has a sweet tooth and they want to know, is there any recommendations? Yeah, I got a couple of them here. One of my favorite ways of fixing my sweet tooth is I do a sweet potato or a yam. I will cut it up. So I warm it up. You can do baked is like the best if you don't want to be using your microwave, but you can do the microwave for 5 minutes, poke holes in it, slice it up, and then I fry it in a pan with a little coconut oil. And then I put raw honey on it at the end, and pink sea salt. So it's like a sweet and salty kind of paleo high carb snack, right? So raw honey, a good raw honey, salt. There's a little coconut oil in there, and then there's also the sweet potato. That's one option that I like. I don't do carbs early in the day, so when I do this meal, I do it at night. Carbs in the beginning of the day, it can mess with your metabolic flexibility, which is your body's ability to burn glucose or ketones for fuel. I like to be keto-ish during the day, and then at night is when I do that. And also, when you eat carbs at night, it can reduce cortisol, increase neurotransmitter production, which can help increase melatonin, so you can sleep deeper at night. So that's why I like carbs at night. With this meal, you're also getting a good mixture of fast carbs and slower carbs. So in kind of different sugar sources from the yam or sweet potato, whatever you want to consider it, and your raw honey. So try that one out. That's good. Another thing is like apple slices or banana slices and almond butter. I really like that. That's a good combo. If you are tolerant to those foods, you need to know if those foods are causing an issue and causing any type of inflammation in your body. So those are, that's what I do personally, but it's worth the disclaimer of just because a food is deemed healthy and natural doesn't mean that it might not be affecting your gut right now and causing systemic inflammation if you have a compromised response or a compromised gut. So, but that's something that I like to do is for who is tolerant to it, is apple slices or banana and almond butter. The last thing, my little protein pudding, it's not paleo, but it's close, is I do 2 scoops of like a whey protein, a chocolate whey protein, a little bit of coconut milk. I do enough water to mix it up into a paste, like a pudding. And then I add a big heaping scoop of coconut oil. And then I'll add a little bit of blueberries to it, a little bit of salt. And then I also do some raw honey again, because I love raw honey. One of those sugar sources that I'm super into. There's some good antioxidants in honey as well, especially really good raw honey. So those couple things you can do for your sweet tooth on a paleo diet. The only thing that's not really paleo on all that stuff I listed was the whey protein, but you make decisions based off what you want to do here. Number 4 is any foods that speed up the metabolism. So there is foods that speed up the metabolism. So you have like high protein. So any kind of meat has a high thermic effect of food, meaning that it costs your body a lot of calories to break it down, to digest, assimilate, and absorb the nutrition from it. Specifically speaking, if you eat a low carbohydrate diet that's high in protein and fat, for your body to create glucose via gluconeogenesis in the liver, where your body can, through a complex process, can take the extra protein that you have and convert it into blood sugar for energy. That's a very expensive calorie burning process. And so that right there will burn up extra calories. And then also, I was thinking about one of the first nutrition courses I did 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And I remember this idea of negative calories from vegetables. And so what it means is that the amount of calories that your body takes to digest, assimilate, and absorb, like real thick, like broccoli and other vegetables and whatnot, are they basically, you have to burn more calories than the food brings in. So it's like a negative net calorie. And also fiber, fiber, you don't actually digest fiber. It goes through into your large intestine and your little microbes eat them. And so if you're eating fibrous foods that are low in calories, it's could be considered a negative calorie, but take that with a grain of salt because that's not really the case. And again, I want to point out that just because a food might speed up your metabolism doesn't mean you should rely on it. So, I think, for my own opinion on this one, this is an opinion, that meat is the most nutrient dense food in the world and the most nutritious thing that humans could possibly eat. That's my personal preference on everything that I've learned over the years. I have clients that I've trained that are from the vegan background and also the vegetarian background, and that's fine. And I don't try and sway them. But everything that I've seen, I believe meat to be the most nutritious thing that we can possibly consume. However, just because it has a high thermic effect of food doesn't mean, and you should have it in your diet, right? If that's what, if you're into eating meat, but just because it has a high thermic effect of food, don't rely on that. It's like the fat burner, right? You got to have a lot of things in place where you shouldn't just be relying on, I got to eat this because it's going to speed my metabolism up. You should also be moving and walking a lot and getting the 10,000 steps in. You should be exercising as many days a week as possible, 3 to 5, depending on who you are and what your goal is and what your injuries are. There's a lot of stuff to consider, but some exercise during the week is usually good. And then low level activity, and then also controlling your diet and not over consuming and not eating, processed refined foods. So, with all that said, you can get the benefit of the thermic effect of food through high protein and also vegetable consumption with fiber. So is that enough of a disclaimer for you? I hope I'm just showering you in disclaimers, because that's, I think, super important, because I want you guys to learn something and to understand my thought process. But the more that I learn about fitness, the less I know. And this is something that I'm very comfortable with now after doing this for 10 years, because I've been in front of some of the smartest people in this field. And, you get around these people and they continually break your ego down. And it's like, these are just options, and you got to constantly be giving people disclaimers, because there's not this one way to do it. And I hope by listening to this show, you're just getting information that's empowering you to make decisions as a human being, because you're smart enough. If you get enough information, you're smart enough to figure out what your path is. Okay. And that's the goal of what we're doing here. That's holistic health. What does all this mean to you? Not what it doesn't mean to me. I'm sharing a collection of what I do with my clients and my profession, which is not my goal. And then I'm sharing my goal and my opinion. So you're getting a lot of that. And so I want to make sure that you understand that, because I don't have everybody do a keto diet. I come in and out of keto on my own. I have people that do high carb diets. I have people that do only single joint exercises, and I have to load them very specifically. And I've never done those exercises, and I'm using the power of physics and mechanics because they have injuries. I have a guy yesterday who shattered his olecranon on his elbow, and I don't just prescribe the same stuff and hand the same can of soup to every client that I get. You got to think your way through this thing. And so this is kind of a side tangent, but disclaimers are important, because just because I like doing something doesn't mean that everybody needs to do it. I can tell you I like it and why I like it, and you can make your own decision. But I feel that's really important, because I'm sitting here, I'm a coach. And so I want to let people know that, because, I feel like it's doing justice to the information I'm giving you. So anyway, let's move on here. The last question of the day is number 5. And I haven't even been changing these things. This is a new system here. So I'm going to pop this question up for you. All right, number 5. Should I count calories to lose weight? So it's your choice. So here's the thing. You can count calories if you want to, if it's part of your goal. What is counting calories? What's the benefits of counting calories? You can be very precise with your measurements. And so I've told clients in the past, if you want precise, you want to hit precise goals, right? You need to take precise measures. Okay. So that right there is you can take precise measures by measuring food and all that. That's fine. That's great in the beginning. Eventually, I would like for you to get to a point where you're more intuitive. Now, for me, I counted calories for 7 years. I did macros all the time. And the more that I've learned and the more I've tried to play with eating all whole natural foods and limiting processed foods, the more I found that intuitive eating is really, it's very easy. I don't have to think about that. With a combination of fasting and utilizing higher fats, lower carbs, my hunger hormones are not hijacked all the time. And so, whole food intuitive eating helps stabilize hunger hormones. And so when you want to eat intuitively, when you're hungry, or, you start to learn intuitively what you need on a day-to-day basis, because you don't need the same calories every single day. You can fluctuate them. If that's one way to do it, is that intuitive approach. That can be more of an advanced approach, though. I understand that. In the beginning, you could have really erratic blood sugar and your body's constantly sending signals like, hey, man, I'm hungry. I need to eat. Give me food now. It's super annoying. I remember my body was like that when I first got into fitness. So counting calories, there's nothing wrong with that. I would recommend that you try to eat all whole that are hijacking your hormones constantly, okay, and could be causing some gut issues as well. And what do I mean? I'm talking about processed, refined foods, okay, boxed foods, convenience foods, foods that are on the perimeter of the grocery store, generally speaking, for the most part. Obviously, the good oils and stuff are down the aisles, but I think you get where I'm going. Like no junk foods, right? Calories can be helpful in the beginning. It provides precise measures, like I said, but eventually you can start to, after you stabilize your body, then you can go into more intuitive approach. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with counting calories to lose weight. You want to be in a slight deficit. There's a way to do that. You can do your body weight times 10, and then your activity, how many days you work out per week. You want to do body weight times 10 times 1.2, 1.4, or 1.6. I'm giving you guys free information right here from numerous certifications that I've gotten. But anyway, so you do your body weight times 10, 1.2 if you're doing like minimal workouts per week, or 1.4. So say, you have, you're 100 pounds and you 10, which is 1,000 calories a day is what you need. 1.4, so now you need 1,400 calories because you're a little 100-pound person for ease of math. And then you drop 200,000 calories a day. That right there is going to put you in a deficit. And so then you can start to split your macronutrients up based off of that. And so that's a whole long list of stuff. Fat per pound of body weight for somebody. I like to do at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So a nice high protein diet. And then the rest is just carbs. We just go up, and obviously this is going to vary big time depending on your body fat levels. Because if you have 70 pounds of body fat and you're going 1 gram of protein per pound of body, I'm saying it'll hurt you. I'm just saying that that's a gross recommendation. It's a very global look. When I coach, pull this up, bro. Look at that. Hopefully you can see your name being pulled up, because on my screen I can see the question being pulled up. Michael, I'm gonna go grab my plug-in again for my computer. Hold on a second. Cue elevator music. All right, cool. We good. I promised you guys that I was going to keep my computer plugged in from now on, but I was lying, huh? All right, so we're back and plugged in. So the question was, we have a live question here, which is, can your calorie count be too low? Yes, it absolutely can be. And so there's a lot to look at when we look at, can your calorie count be too low, which is how many days consecutively is your calories low? That's a big one. And so for me, because here's the thing, I do a lot of fasting. I rip off 48-hour fasts. I did it 2 weeks in a row a few weeks back. And there's a lot of good stuff about cell autophagy and this thing called apoptosis, which is this cell death that can occur when you withhold food for a longer period of time. They've also found that growth hormone spikes tremendously as the further you get into a fast, which is insane. I talk about it kind of weekly on here if you listen, but which is the opposite of people saying, oh, if you don't eat, you're going to lose muscle. It's actually, it turns out if you go low calorie with several meals a day, you're going to lose muscle because you keep spiking insulin and you're causing this starvation response. But if you just don't eat, and you just don't eat at all, and then you eat bigger portions later on, you actually increase growth hormone levels, or you can increase growth hormone levels depending on multiple factors. But that could be a great way to go. So I find that interesting as a natural muscle building guy. Trying to hack my natural hormones is pretty key. So anyway, but what I'm getting at is that if I do that, I'm going to be on very low for the week on calories now, my average. So what I look at with people, Michael, what I look at is overall weekly averages. So I do it with body weight. I also like to do it with steps. But I also do that with calories and caloric intake. And what I mean by that is if, say we come up with a calorie recommendation, right? So say we are counting, okay? You need 2,000 calories a week on average. I always say, I want you to land the plane on these macronutrients and these calories if this is where our goal is right now. And so what I mean by that is a 7-day average. If you were using like MyFitnessPal or something like that to do this, you would see that like, okay, maybe you were super low in the beginning of the week, but then you were really high. Like you went to 3,000 calories a couple days, but you landed the plane on average at 2,000 calories. That's good. Another thing is a couple weeks of really low calorie dieting is not going to hurt you. The issue comes when you do this longer term. And if you're doing many meals a day and getting these little insulin spikes constantly, but you're keeping calories low, you can get this adaptive thermogenesis that happens. Okay, and this happens if you diet too long as well, because hypocaloric diets are a stress on the body. So what happens is the longer you go, the more your metabolism will drop, and basically you take in less calories, you burn less calories. That's been shown in many scientific studies. A lot of which are quoted by this guy, Jason Fung, Dr. Jason Fung, who wrote The Obesity Code. It's a great book. It's one that I talk about often because it's based on all human research studies. Okay, and he basically just drops all these studies over time that show that what happens is when you eat less calories and you move more, you're just burning more calories. You're in this law of thermodynamics that everybody wants to talk about like it's a super simple thing, but it's not a simple thing at all. When you eat less calories, you burn less calories over time. When you burn less calories, then you fall off the diet. Then you start gaining the fat back. And what happens is your body can still be hungry months to up to a year or more after a diet. After you've gained your weight back, you could still be ravenously hungry if you F up your diet. If you just push it too hard for too long and your body starts sending you all the hunger signals. I've had it happen where I've pushed programs too hard. I was doing 2-a-days, like 5 or 6 days a week. I did this thing one time where I did squat every day program, where I would do a 1-rep max every single day for 30 days. I got ready for a photo shoot doing this. So I would do my regular workout in the morning. I would work at the gym, right? And then I'm already at the gym. Then I would squat. I would do like 4 warm-up sets and then like 5 1-rep max sets, which is just no rhyme or reason, right? I just was trying to get swole. And but I would do that, and that was taking a lot out of me, right? Well, what happened after that shoot is I was so tired and my body started to really fight back to where I couldn't not think about food constantly. I had no motivation to lift weights, no motivation to even remotely do even 6 days a week of doing 1 program a day, let alone 2-a-days. All the stuff I had to do to maintain where I got to. And I was like, that was one of like the aha moments of my whole fitness career, was like my own personal goals. Cause I was like, holy crap, like this just isn't attainable. And what happened is my body fought me. It fought back, and I lost control of the car and gained weight back. And then I had to start thinking about what's the minimum effective dosage I could do? What's the maximum amount of food I could eat? What's the minimum amount that I could exercise? And the minimum amount of stress I could put on my body to achieve that physique. And I've done that, but I've done it over the course of a few years by learning more, continuing to be a student of the game and trial and error through this thing. So calories can be too low if it's for long periods of time. But if you do it for short periods of time and you're smart about how you come out of those low periods, you're good to go. How do you come out of those low periods without blowing it? I typically do a very high fat, low carb diet where I'm trying to keep insulin low. And I also fast for 18 to 24 hours when I'm doing that. So I talked about that in one of the other episodes. Can't remember what number it was, but it was where I talked about the 2 concepts of you have a burn phase and then you have a balance phase, right? The burn phase is where you're exercising more, you're burning more calories, you're move more, eat less, that whole thing. But then you're trying to be smart when you go to come out of it. When you start to feel like you're getting a little fatigued and maybe losing motivation in the gym, you start to eat more fats, replenish the body, try to not blow it, and then you can do another burn cycle, because when your body fights back, it will win. So anyway, that's it. Good question. We threw an extra one in. Thank you for that one. That's episode 59, y'all. So we just went for a good little period of time here. I hope you guys learned something. We'll be back here on Monday at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Pacific time. We're here Monday through Friday at the School of Shred, the one and only, the almighty Hawaiian Shirt Day. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys can do me a big favor and head over to the School of Shred podcast at iTunes, just go to iTunes, look up the School of Shred, and go do a review. It would help a ton. Let the show get traction, help the show get traction. And if you guys are interested in enrolling at the School of Shred, here in a couple weeks, we're starting class 101. It's a 90-day life-changing program that you could be a part of as a student. You're not a client in this program. You're a student. It's not about instruction. It's about education. It's about community. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff and a really robust virtual online program where you get weekly, you get an hour of my time weekly to meet up on video conferences and whatnot. Really cool program I put together. You can take advantage of a free consult call if you click the link that's in all of my show notes here or the comment section. So with that said, have a good weekend, y'all. Episode 59, Q&A Friday, number 9. We'll see you guys for episode 60 on Monday. Stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in your spirit. Stay determined in your pursuits, baby. It's Hawaiian Shirt Friday. Make the most out of the weekend. Happy Labor Day. Shred the old and make better than new. We'll see you guys next week.